You know, for thousands of years, there have been whispers about this controversial text, a book that claims to hold a detailed map of the entire universe, a map that was revealed directly by angels. Today, we're going to dive right into it.
And look, this wasn't just any ancient text. It was seen as so potentially disruptive that it was left out of the Hebrew Bible and most Christian Bibles. And yet, tucked away inside its pages is this incredible, systematic vision of the cosmos.
So, the book is credited to this guy, Enoch, a figure from Genesis who is famous for basically two things. He walked with God, and then he was taken up into heaven without ever dying. But here's the detail that ancient writers got really fascinated by. He lived for 365 years. And to them, that was no coincidence. It was a divine sign, a clue, linking Enoch directly to the sun and the secrets of a perfect solar year.
So let's peel back the layers of this ancient mystery and really dig into the astronomical secrets hidden inside the Book of Enoch.
All right, our first stop is a grand tour of the universe as Enoch saw it. Now, this is not the cosmos of NASA or the Hubble telescope. This is a world built on divine order and ancient, sacred knowledge.
So, what did this universe actually look like? Well, first off, forget the globe. The Enochian scribes pictured the Earth as this massive, flat disk. And the sky was like an inverted cup, a dome, placed perfectly over that saucer. It's a simple, elegant, and totally self-contained model.
So how did the mechanics of this universe actually work? The key feature was a series of celestial portals, or gates, built into that dome of the sky. As the book itself says, Enoch saw 6 portals on the eastern horizon for the sunrise, and another 6 on the western horizon for the sunset.
And this portal system was this brilliant, almost clockwork mechanism that explained the seasons. The sun didn't just wander around, it followed a very strict, divinely ordered path. It would start its journey in the 4th portal, right at the spring equinox. Then, day by day, it would move north, rising and setting through the 5th and then the 6th portals, which made the days get longer and longer until you hit the summer solstice. After that, it would reverse its journey, heading back to that 4th portal for the autumn equinox, and all the way down to the 1st portal for the shortest day of the year, the winter solstice. It's a completely predictable system. And all of this celestial clockwork leads us straight to the centerpiece of Enochian astronomy, its calendar, which was totally radical and, for its followers, absolutely perfect.
364, that is the magic number. Not 365, not 365 and a quarter, just 364. For the Enochian scribes, this number was nothing less than divine perfection.
And the math behind it was just beautifully simple. The year was split into 4 perfectly equal seasons. Each of those seasons had exactly 91 days, and each season was broken into 2 30-day months and 1 31-day month. You do the math, 4 seasons of 91 days adds up perfectly to 364. No messy fractions, no complicated leap years.
But here's the real kicker. The reason 364 was so important. It's perfectly divisible by 7. That meant the calendar had exactly 52 weeks. And the result? A perfectly stable year. New Year's Day would always fall on the exact same day of the week. Every festival, every holiday was locked in forever. It was a calendar of ultimate predictability.
And this really sets up the core conflict of the time. You see, the official calendar being used back then was a lunar solar calendar, and frankly, it was messy. You had to constantly observe the moon, and it required human intervention. Priests had to add in leap months every few years just to keep it lined up with the seasons. But for Enoch's followers, this wasn't just sloppy. The fact that humans had to adjust it meant it was corruptible. Their solar calendar wasn't based on messy human observation. It was a perfect system revealed by an angel. It was God's time, not man's time.
So this raises a really fascinating question, right? If this astronomical system was, let's be honest, inaccurate, that 364-day year would slowly drift away from the actual seasons over time, why was it so fiercely defended by its followers? Well, the history here is absolutely key. This Enochian astronomy wasn't actually new, even back then. Scholars think it was a very old system, probably based on knowledge from the Babylonian exile centuries earlier. So by the time the Book of Enoch was being written down, more sophisticated Greek astronomy was already out there. But, and this is the important part, its followers weren't interested in the latest scientific model. They were making a conscious choice to preserve their own sacred ancestral tradition over something new. And this right here gets to the absolute heart of the matter. We're looking at 2 fundamentally different ways of knowing the universe. For the Enochian scribes, cosmic knowledge was a sacred secret, something revealed by an angel. The whole point was to understand divine order. But for the Greeks and the later Babylonians, knowledge came from mathematical observation. The goal there was empirical accuracy. It's a totally different mindset.
So, when you boil it all down, the 364-day calendar wasn't a scientific tool, not in the way we define it. It was a theological and ritualistic one. Getting the calendar right meant you were celebrating holy festivals at the exact times appointed by God. It was a divine blueprint for how to worship correctly.
So what happened to this book and its really unique vision of the universe? Well, its journey through history is honestly just as remarkable as its content.
For centuries in the Western world, people thought the Book of Enoch was just lost. It was known only from a few fragments and mentions in other texts. But it wasn't gone. It was being carefully preserved, in full, somewhere else, which is what eventually allowed modern scholars to translate and analyze these incredible astronomical chapters.
So let's trace this amazing path. It all starts with scribes in ancient Judea. Then, the community at Qumran, the desert folks who gave us the Dead Sea Scrolls, they adopted its calendar. Its apocalyptic ideas went on to heavily influence early Christian thinkers, but its full survival, right into the modern age, is thanks to one single, remarkable institution.
I mean, just stop and think about that for a second. A text that was so foundational for communities like the one at Qumran, and for some early Christians, almost completely vanished from Western history. For over 1,000 years, it became a ghost, a whisper of a lost tradition. Its full cosmic vision was nearly forgotten.
And this is where the hero of our story comes in, the Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church. While the West lost Enoch, they kept it safe. They preserved the only complete manuscript of the text in Ge'ez, their ancient liturgical language. And they didn't just save it on a shelf somewhere. They canonized it, making it part of their 81-book Bible. Its ideas even helped shape the Ethiopian solar calendar, which is a direct legacy of this ancient worldview that's still in use today. Incredible.
So, this whole story of Enoch's cosmic map really leaves us with a bigger question, doesn't it? It's such a powerful example of how our fundamental beliefs, whether you put your faith in divine revelation or in empirical data, don't just shape our values, they shape the very structure of the universe as we perceive it. And it kind of makes you wonder, what